Welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto with Full Curl Precision. Before we get into tonight's topic, I wanted to say thank you for everyone who's been subscribed and supporting me and listens and everything else. We're trying to get to 200 subs. Slowly happening. We're making some progress, but we're not there yet. When we do, it's going to be a hat, a shirt, and an ammo box. Um, we won't have any repeat winners, but yeah. So there's that. But for tonight's topic, I wanted to say, something I've seen and observed over the years, especially here, is sometimes, and by the way, this is kind of slightly a rant video, but it's kind of a curbing some attitudes type video too. I've noticed that there tends to be attitude in some places, depending on where you are, where some hunters think that there's something special because they happen to have a little bit more funds than others. And that's a garbage mentality. And here's the thing, this regards whether or not you're a reloader, whether or not you're a first time shooter, whether or not you've been around for a long time. You know, one of the things that I determined in my own journey with this, with getting into reloading and everything else too, was to not let it determine my value, and also not to spend so much into it that it becomes a burden. So I enjoy the process. I love being able to develop new ideas and everything else like that, and be able to perfect something. At the same time, I like the idea that I don't go broke in the process. So that's it. And I'm going to show you a couple bullets, and I'm going to discuss, like, realistically the price point difference between them. So in this case, yeah, these you've seen many times if you've been here before. If you haven't, for the new people, this green tipped bullet right here is a 140 grain Sierra Game Changer, and this gray tipped bullet is a 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. Right now, my rifle really likes these over this. These are dud rounds. I just use these as examples. But there is a significant price point difference between the two. The Sierras cost per 100, you're looking at about 65-ish dollars per 100, right? So it gives you roughly 65 cents a bullet. Whereas the Noslers, while I've gotten them on sale, typically are right around $100 for 100. Yes, I've gotten some good sales. But, they're typically between $90 and $100. So you're talking about between 90 cents and $101 per bullet. Now, for me, I'm okay with that because the average cost of 270 in my area is between $40 and $50. So I'm able to build these for about $30 per 20. That actually works out pretty good. So I'm actually less money with premium components, so it's well worth it. But here's the thing, maybe you can't afford it, and that's okay. Maybe all you can afford are the Sierras. That puts you right around the $1.15 around. That's pretty good. So, well under 20, it's less than $25 a box. Much more affordable, right? So, trying to add those things into consideration. But this is also a slightly broader topic, because I've seen this with not only ammunition, I've seen it with gun, your gun selection, your clothing selection, your vehicle selection, your scope selection, whatever the case is. There's these guys that think if they drop $30,000 in equipment, it makes them somehow better. It's kind of funny. I've had that discussion with many guys, and I've yet to find somebody who spends that much coin on their hunting gear that has still filled as many tags as I have. And yet to meet those guys that are as happy in their life as I am. Not because I'm necessarily, something special. I don't view myself in that way at all. But usually those guys are never satisfied with anything. They're like the guys who go out and spend, ridiculous amount of money on a new set of golf clubs because they think that is going to fix the fact that they suck. No, it doesn't matter how much you spend. It's not going to change the fact that you still suck at hitting the ball, or suck at shooting, or suck at harvesting. You can't buy skill. You have to learn it, and you have to learn it the hard way. There's no way around it. And here's the thing. Maybe you are somebody that's hunting on a budget, like I am. Okay? I've been asked many times, why aren't you putting in for numerous types of draw tags for other states, or doing this, or going here, doing that? I'm like, it costs money. And the thing is, regardless of what people want to say, it's not time is money. Money is time. Okay? I don't own money. No one really owns money. But we own our time and energy. So it takes time and energy. We have to exchange time and energy to earn money. And then we use that money to go do these things, right? But that takes additional time and energy. And so by the time you factor everything else in, it becomes rather expensive and takes up a big portion of your life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and enjoy doing things or have fun with it. But, at the same time, you shouldn't be, dogging on other people because maybe the guy can only afford a Ruger American. But here's the thing. If you're somebody who's out there and has dogged on somebody, or you thought like, look at this loser. He bought he bought a $300 scope instead of looking at my $1,500 higher end Leupold or Swarovski or Zeiss. If you're that type of guy and you're watching this, you're a jackass. And you need help. If you're somebody who's been on the receiving end of those types of comments, I'm sorry you've had to deal with that kind of a jackass. And you don't need help. You're okay. Don't worry about what that guy's doing. It's irrelevant. It's not your job to be in competition with his micro penis. Okay? That's really what it is. You have no reason to be in competition with him because you're not. If all you're trying to do is go out there, fill a couple tags, feed your family, go home and appreciate and spending time with them and some friends and family and share a good meal, you are in a much better mental place than that idiot ever will be. So don't worry about it. It has no benefit to worry about what your gear is as much as it is how good are you at using it. And here's the thing. If all you can afford is a Savage Axis or a Ruger American, or let's say whatever, for simplicity, because I happen to live in the U.S., let's say you can't afford anything over $1,000. Well, you know what? Somebody can't, then they can't. Oh well. Do the best with what you have. If all you have is $1,000 to spend between your rifle and your optics, great. I mean, I think now my budget happened to be a little higher, but not by a whole lot. Between my rifle, my scope, and rings, I think I have still under $1,200 in it. But mind you, I saved up for it too. I didn't just go out and get it. So it's not like you have to go out and spend a whole lot of money. With that exact rig that I have, I was still able to take a deer successfully at 375 yards. It did the trick. So, it's okay to spend a little bit, there's obviously an upfront cost, so spend a little bit. Sure, fine. But make sure you also don't go broke in the process. Everyone, I know there's a lot of people that work hard, and if you do work hard and you earn it, I understand. I'm not saying you don't deserve to have a nice rifle. But what I'm saying is what makes a nice rifle is not necessarily the rifle itself as much as it is the guys who are using it. You can take the least skilled person in the world and hand them a high-end custom that can shoot absolutely amazing, and he's still going to be terrible compared to the guy who's a pro using a CVA Cascade. Don't worry about what the other people are doing. Just worry about what you're doing. And if all you can afford is a Vortex or a Burris or a lower end Leupold, run it and be happy about it. Be proud about it. Here's the thing: the people I'd rather hang out with are your average everyday folk. I have no interest in spending time with the guys who look down on the average everyday folk. I don't care what somebody earns. I'll hang out with anybody. But the thing is, I care more about the person's quality of character than their economic status. So be proud of what you have. Learn to be skillful with it. Match what you have, even in your reloading. Just be reasonable. Like I said before, and I've done videos on it. I'll turn the camera around. Here. This is basically my reloading setup. Literally. That's it. Single stage press. Saved up and got this. This is something we started up doing, the 3D printed ammo boxes. So that is mine, right? I am going to have some others coming. But I don't have, a whole reloading room here. I have to set this up into a better spot, but I don't have a ton of stuff. And that's okay. I don't need a ton of stuff. It's going to be fine. So don't worry about what others are doing. Worry about what you're doing. If you're running to the best of your ability, what you have within your budget, I'm proud of you. I'm serious. I'm proud of you for that. So just know that there's always somebody here that's going to help you try to find some information. And the thing is, I don't by any stretch of the imagination consider myself an expert by any of it. Okay? If I don't know something, I'll try to look it up or ask somebody who's more experienced than me. And that's the other thing I will say this. If you are somebody who is into reloading and you know somebody who's trying to get into it, take the time to try to teach them. The amount of guys, when I was trying to get into this, I asked questions, they wouldn't answer anything. It's like, why is it that they complain that nobody wants to get into this or do that, but they're not willing to help somebody make progress to that level? I consider that hypocritical, stupid, and disrespectful. So, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get away from this because there's not enough help for it. I want people to come here and be able to enjoy that process, to be able to ask questions, be able to learn, to be able to enjoy just a good conversation. So I appreciate it. Please help us get to 200 subs. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and we'll talk to you again.